Hello. Confirm. Okay, that's fine for now. That's fine for now. Okay, so anyways, it's not like rocket science or anything, but so I'll have it set up in groups. Like you notice over here, like I'll be in the 70s for a minute, but not for that long, tempo-wise, So I feel like when I play, or maybe it's just a big G thing. I don't know how other guys feel, but I feel like people are ready to like move to the next tempo, to move to the next, they're ready to move, especially tempo-wise, like, sitting in like, say, like dubstep 70s tempo, for like 45 minutes, I'm thinking like 15, I like to group my stuff in like tempos, and then like only be in that tempo for maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then mix it up, tempo-wise. So that's one thing that I do. And like I said, mine isn't set up as much. I have some different things over here. Like I'll have some like build-ups and stuff that I can trigger, and different effects that help sort of like make the music move how I want it to. And then I'll just like I don't know. So I was over here. See crossface down there? Just like I go hard in the motherfucking paint, nigga. And then I'll recite along and stuff. And then, I'll do stuff like this. Mix it. It's nothing crazy. Like I said, I can't do too much. I also have a bunch of effects and stuff set up, sort of.
You're actually doing that on your MIDI controller.
Well, yeah, I have. So I don't have it with me, but essentially, I don't have to really touch my computer, and I can just direct around through my MIDI controller. So sometimes I'm playing, sometimes I'm not. But if I'm playing, if I have to go like down, like if I have to go down, like there's a button to go down lines like this, and you can move down scenes. I'll do a lot of it in time. Just because it's too hard to be like, playing and trying to move around. So I'll do that kind of thing. But yeah, like I said, but another thing that I have as well, so I have these groups set up like this. But then what I do for a show is, because like he said, I don't know how the crowd's gonna react. So it's like, I know I'm gonna start here with this little group. And then I know I'm gonna end, say, with this little group. And everything in between, I'll be like, well, if it's, because, well, maybe I'm playing all good, but next week I'm playing ultra. That's different. You gotta play it different, So it's like all good, I'm gonna have some more jammy shit, kind of, ready to do that kind of thing. Maybe, okay, if this is too heavy, I need to go more music-y, or something like that. So I'll be like, okay, it's what I think in my head, so I have all my, I'm like trying to think of all my options. So music. No, you know what I'm saying though? Because like if we get done with, maybe the first group and I'm like, wow, everyone's like standing there like, this shit is what is going on right now. I'm gonna be like, all right, we're gonna go over this way a little bit, so I can play it however I want to play it depending on the situation, which I think is super important, and it goes back to, it's what kind of DJs are all about. You have to play the crowd. And that kind of thing. So, anyways, just my two on how I do it. It's different for everybody. So,
yeah, I think that one thing with his slide setup that's different from mine as well is that he's triggering basically this line. You can see how the whole row is selected. So basically that's called a scene, and you can launch as many different tracks at once as you want to. So everything on that line, but you can also go through and just pinpoint one each. Like you could take a whole line, but then change up a certain channel, so it's doing different things. And I think that Dominic, the way that Dominic uses it a little bit differently is that since they have live instrumentation and they have, the saxophone and the drums, there's going to be sections where they just want to improvise, and it's kind of like, extending the song. So what they'll do is they'll create a section that's looped out with minimal parts in it, and then he can trigger it by hitting a certain key on his keyboard, and that loop is going to continue to go so they can play as long as he wants. So it's still like, when you're a musician and you're looking to your other band members, like go to the next part, like a lot of bands have like little signals that people don't notice or whatever, like, okay, like whatever, it's time to move on. So with that too, it's still the live application of him talking with Jeremy musically and feeling out the amount of bars or the amount of loops that you want to go through before you're moving on. It's like something that he has created with his live set, so he's able to extend any song really.
Yeah.
That's something that.
Let me tell you one real quick little trick that I do too that really helps us out, and this is like my little trick on the live set thing. And this is like, so, you know, you're in one tempo. This works well for us and sort of my concept on it because, you know, like we're trying to finish up, say, that group that I was talking about. So we're done with the group, last song. I need to go into the next song, new tempo, new faster, slower tempo without sort of losing the old tempo, without losing what the old track was doing in the old tempo, but still starting the new track in the right tempo. You feel me? Follow me? So we're at 93 BPM, okay? About to end the song. Next song coming up, 74 BPM. And we need to end the song that we're currently playing in the same tempo we were just playing in, but we need to start the new track in the new tempo. So what I figured out is I was like, oh well, it's not like I figured it out. It's not that hard, but it's all you just don't warp. You don't warp the ending. So you see this track right here. This is right here. So this is the beginning of the end, right? So
warping means, for people that don't know, it's like when you have a piece of audio, how we said you can speed it up or slow it down. Previous to warping, it was like it would change the actual sound of it, like it would make it more high-pitched or lower-pitched. So basically, Ableton and a bunch of other companies created this thing called warping where you can take the piece of music and even if you speed it up or slow it down, it's going to stay the same pitch.
Yeah.
So when you don't warp something, is what he's... when you don't like put that effect on it, so it will be in its normal time.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll see like here. So here is the unwarped track down here. See, I just unwarped it, and then here is the new track I'm starting. Notice the tempo over here, 73. So 94, we're gonna be there. So let's. So here's the very end. See what I'm saying? So, like a lot of times, like this like hit right here. If you just listen to the last hit. See, it's like if all of a sudden that started going, you're like, well, it's weird, but
it would make people jump a little bit.
Yeah, we'd be like, oh, that was weird, you know. But since it's not warped, it doesn't sound weird. It just does its thing, and then louder comes in, just like So chill.
And he's crossfading it all.
Hey, if you look right here, there's a crossfader, so you can like treat it like a like a DJ mixer. And so basically, it's like the old song is fading out at the right tempo, with the new one coming in at the new tempo, and it all still makes sense.
And that works good. Obviously for a DJ, it doesn't really make as much sense. Because you're trying to. So it could depend. It depends. It all depends on the situation. But for us, we need that. We needed that. So it's good that we have that.
And I would say too, with Ableton Live as well, like a lot of the stuff with this, like you can get the demo software, and that's kind of the main thing that we wanted to kind of portray to everyone tonight is that like, you can get this software, and we run everything that we have into the software. Like we have like, I have a bunch of vintage keyboards and tape machines and all this other stuff, and we're going to all these studios and working with other singers and people from other groups and all this stuff. And you can easily rewire everything into Ableton. You can make your songs in your studio in it, and then change it up and use it to play live. So being able to have something so versatile and so easily adaptable to what you need, but also the mobility of it makes it such a huge piece of software that it really is like kind of changed a lot of things for everybody. So it's, I would say like with this software, you're capable of learning it, and it comes with a great set of tutorials. Like if you go up to the help at the very top on the right, there's tutorials built into it, and going back to like you said before, like all this stuff is about self-application. And I would recommend that everybody go through the tutorials right at the very beginning. Yeah. But go through the tutorials at the very beginning if you want to, like, you know, if you want to produce music. We kind of talked about how you can start your group, but, you know, as far as music production goes, go through the tutorials, pick songs you like that, like, use synthy sounding tones, and then YouTube how to make those tones and start to just follow it. Because really, like, a lot of this stuff, and we can open up some tracks, but it's like messing with every knob on a keyboard and just turning it all the way down and all the way up and knowing exactly what it sounds like. And after a while, you'll just start to know what every single thing does, and you can really create these tones that are unique to what you're trying to do. So with Ableton Live, I would say, like, and everything else, like, there's different mixing books. And the other thing I was going to point out too is that a lot of times, of what I did and how I had the most success in learning how to mix and everything like that, there's a great book which I would recommend that everyone gets. You can order it online from Amazon.com and delivered to your house. It's usually a $40 book. You can buy it online for $10. It's called The Art of Mixing. And basically it talks to you, it teaches you about EQ and compression, and it's just two simple things, but those two things can really shape or form how your sound is presented. So The Art of Mixing is a great book that I would recommend reading, but really what I would do is look at what all the music schools, if you want to be a musician or a producer or a DJ, like, look at what the other schools or what your school is teaching, and go and purchase that book even if you're not enrolled in the class, and read through it and take notes like you're in a college course. And I honestly did that, and I created like a handbook for EQs, which helped me, like, you know, show Dom things and show a lot of other people things. Because a lot of producers nowadays don't realize that, like, you have to know how to mix now also. That's part of the deal. So with that, it's really important to read everything you can, and there's a lot of stuff that you can't learn without reading it somewhere. I mean, we can talk about it, and we're going to be doing more in-depth lectures on music production on and off campus, as far as like getting in there and showing you guys some real stuff based on like the levels of what we're doing. But honestly, anyone can use the software, and the software is very similar to like video editing software, and it's very similar to Photoshop, and it's very similar to Illustrator. So, like, you know, a lot of the same key commands, like if you hold down Apple, you know, N, it's like a new file in all of those programs, or if you hit. So there's a lot of key commands that you can learn that will make it so everything feels kind of universal to you.
It's pretty wide open, right? You can
Wide open.
sort of
Anything.
almost anything you can imagine. You can find a way that Ableton can do it.
You can. Wide open. Yeah, so I don't know. We could. I'm going to do a track.